Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Stevens. I'm the Director of Sales for Niveo Professional for the Americas. Good to meet you, and looking forward to sharing some exciting new things coming out of Niveo for the SDVoE Alliance partners. So what we're going to be talking about is what we have done recently in bringing forth a 10 gig switch for the Alliance partners and for the integrators around the world, and that we have actually added the API into the switch firmware. So it's kind of leading into what does it mean for you as an integrator. And I really kind of talk about the change that we're doing here is creating two different value sets for our clients. One is a physical value set. The second one is a functionality value set. So we'll spend a couple of minutes and you'll be able to see the main bullets here on the charts coming up about what this means for you as an integrator and for your clients. So in physically what we're doing is, if you look at the fabric of a AV over IP solution, the main part of the fabric is driven by the switch. It should be the piece of gear that lasts forever, honestly. And at that point, it should just work for people. So when you do this and you build switches this way, like ours will carry 10-year warranties to testify about what we mean about being sustainable there, then the only time you would change a switch is changing speeds, because they shouldn't fail. So we were asked to bring forth a switch to the membership to give people alternatives. And when we started exploring that with the team, we also explored, can we do something more? And that something more is we've actually included the API into the switch. So what does this really mean for you? We're reducing some of the devices that are in the physical network, and we're putting the software on the device that's built to last the longest. And that's an advantage for anybody when you're doing service contracts and when you're maintaining it. If you want to stop truck rolls and things like that, you deal with things that are built to operate this way going forward. So again, you're reducing hardware, you've got 10-year warranties on it, there's no licenses, there's services. Our engineers are around the globe now. The lead set for those of us in North America are in California. So we're available to help design, config, and test out the solution for you. And that's one of the changes I made to our business operation. When you look at functionality, what's the difference there is? Again, there's one more piece that they don't have to deal with. So it really can help the engineers who understand and deal with the API directly, that it's already there. So you've got to log in to configure the switch and log in for the API, and you move forward with that. As we continue to grow with this, as more of what I'll call GUI interfaces come out, then we're going to be looking to include those also going forward in the switch firmware there. Again, let's reduce some of the gear that is not needed in the network as a failure point, and make it easy for the engineer, the programmer, whomever it is, the installer, to do their job. And that way, if you have your own monitoring software, we'll work with you about getting that in to the system and have that fully vetted and tested with you. And we'll be working with the Alliance partners with their software also to make this happen. So I actually had some people ask me why we entered this space, because we've been making 1 gig solutions now for 10 years. People were wanting alternatives, and we as an AV integration space need alternatives. We also bring forth something different than most of the other manufacturers. Our chipsets are made in the US. We then ship them to either Germany or Taiwan, where we're making the switch and actually manufacturing it. And so in doing that, the chipset issue that a lot of the manufacturers have faced around the world, we're not facing that. So that's a very strong positive we have in there. We heard integrators wanted options, so we actually included PoE++ on this platform. So it's got dual power supplies, and you've basically got over 1,000 watts of PoE++ usable on a 24-port switch. So that's another side event that we added to make this clean and easy for an integrator and really help out with that. So again, there's a point there. I've been building 1 gig switches for a long time. We are actually already using the same chipset in our 10 gig fiber switches. So it was pretty easy for us to change the board to move into a copper environment. Part number is right there. We are in the actual production, so it's already been out and tested. So we're in production right now. We will have these shippable into the platforms that our distributors hold it for in July. So who are we? A lot of people don't know us. We don't do big advertising everywhere. We are working with our partners to do that type of advertising, and we're working with SDVoE and our distribution partners to do that. But we've been in business basically about 15 years. We've been into the switch business 10 plus years. The two principals, Arthur and Jaap, are based in the Netherlands. They brought me on to run the Americas for them. We are a company that is focused on AV. And that's a big difference right now. I don't build switches for data center. I don't build switches for structured cabling. We build switches for AV. And that's a difference in the place there. We use partners. So for those of you in the Americas, we're bringing the switches in with Wesco, and Annixter and Liberty are partners that will distribute those for us, and we keep them in stock. And another very big point is one of the changes also we made as I looked at what was good, bad, and the ugly over a few years of trouble reports. My engineers are based in California, the lead set. So for those of us in the Americas, it's a very easy contact during our normal business days. What I found in reviewing calls coming in was a lot of the calls were saying there's a problem, but the client did not know what the problem was. So it's always assumed, hey, it could be the switch. 95% of the problems wasn't the switch, it was an endpoint or a control software, and we as AV integrators, we're not doing it every day, so that's a difficult problem to solve. So I've changed our approach that we will solve the problem with you regardless of what it is. We will help you test all the way out through the fabric into the endpoints and make sure things are working great. So that's a big change for us. Other solutions that we make for the AV industry, obviously we talked about switches. We've got an AVB solution that's new. We announced it at ISC this year. We've got media converters. We've got SFPs, wireless apps, APs, and PDUs and UPSs.
I think we've only got 5 minutes.
So going back to the pillars of SDVoE, one of the things that they're always looking for is they bring a partner in, a member in, is can you focus on these 3 points? So sustainability, absolutely, our focus is on that. I want to reduce your time spent on configuring and testing a fabric. I want to reduce your truck rolls, and I want to make the hardware be focused on the items that will last the longest, if that makes sense. That's why we have the 10-year warranties on the switches. Flexibility, with having the API built in, you can do it your way. However you want to configure your system, you can do that. You can work with your partners and use their software, or you can do with the API straight into it. And availability, we are super strong in that world in availability, and it's because of chipsets and components we use. So we don't have issues with delivery. We don't have issues with components not being available. That is something we've worked very hard to not have, and we've not had those issues in this whole time of COVID when everybody else had lots of things happening. And again, last point is on this new switch for the Alliance partners, it'll be in stock in the US in July. I appreciate you having us here. Thank you for viewing the video. Let us know if we can help you. Have a good day.